started since we have a lot of people here. So I'm trying to manage. We did a virtual waiting room just so we don't get spammed with any crazy things we don't want to see, as has been happening with Zoom. So I'm going to try to manage the virtual waiting room as well as questions on Zoom and questions on Facebook. So why we wanted to host this call is to kind of give everybody an overview of what is happening with real estate ever since, our stay-at-home order, everything with this horrible virus, and obviously it's affected our economy, it's affected how we live every day, and it's also affected real estate because, you're supposed to stay at home, how are you going to look for a home, right? So we as realtors have been deemed an essential business, as has mortgage brokers, because not only did people start going under contract and everything. Yes.
Can you let Patty in?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Okay. I'm admitting. Okay. Aiden Calancis is in too. That's George. All right. Welcome, everybody. Patty, are you there? Can you unmute? Let's see if I can unmute Patty. She's our lender, and I know everybody wants to hear from Patty. So I don't see that she's on unless she's phone too. So okay, I'll keep an eye out for her. Is she on, Joanne?
She's trying to get in. She's doing the audio right now.
Okay, I'm going to look at everybody who's coming in. So anyway, so as I was saying, a lot of people had gone under contract and decided to list their properties before all of this happened. And I have some clients on the call right now who did just that. And then with timing of getting everything ready to list, kind of came on just as everything was shutting down as far as us having to stay home. So not only with our current clients, people were thinking about selling, our buyers, our future buyers, everybody's been asking, what's the market like? What's going on? Should we be selling now? Should we be buying now? What are we going to do? So we decided to host this call so that we can answer all of your questions. And please, 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 if you have specific questions, type in the chat on Zoom or the chat on Facebook Live. I'm going to be monitoring both of them. And we're going to try to answer all of your questions. Okay, Jefferson. Okay. Patty, are you there?
She's here.
She is? Okay.
No video.
You see her?
Oh, I hear her.
There she is.
I
Okay,
can't
great.
hear.
You can't hear. Can you hear now? Can you hear me now? Good.
I can't hear.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I'm phone too. Let's see if I can put her audio on. No, I cannot do that. All right. So while Patty works on it, let me just get started kind of with what my part of it is as realtors and what we're seeing. So I feel that, the world, well, we all know that the world has changed in the current state of events and everything that's going on. And like I was saying, it's really hard to show properties when you can't leave your home. But what I can say is that At Properties was prepared in a sense for something like this because we could do everything virtually. We've always tried, and what Thad and Mike, who own the company, have tried to put into our hands as their realtors is paperless. Let's save trees, let's save paper. So they have virtual CMAs. They've always pushed everything to be done online. So things have kind of shifted as far as how we do things. We are still closing deals. We have 6 closings this week. We've had several closings over the last few weeks. We've put several deals under contract since this whole thing started. Things are just being done a little bit differently, and that's kind of what we wanted to explain to you. So I'm going to go through what we're seeing in the real estate market. I'll give you some statistics overall on what is going on in real estate. Obviously, Andre Group. So on behalf of Helen Calancis from the Andre Group, Twin Tran, Cheryl Prosperi, Gary Willett, and Joanne Castle, and then also Patty Dalkos, who's our lender from Guaranteed Rate. We wanted to invite you all here today to answer your questions. Not only are we going to be doing this meeting, but we're going to be doing a series every week and not only bringing you real estate advice, we're going to bring you tips on how to get your home ready to list and different projects if you're not even going to sell yet that you can be doing at home right now, since we're all at home and loving our homes, that you can do to kind of splice up your home just for the heck of it or because you want to list. We'll also be giving you wellness advice we'll have some wellness experts on here of what you can do to keep yourself healthy and well in this time. So we really want to be providing you information on not only real estate, but on how to survive being at home, working, being a full-time employee or part-time employee, being a full-time stay-at-home parent, a teacher now, and a chef. So we're going to kind of give you a bunch of information about all of that. But today's talk is about real estate. We brought Patty Dalkos, who is our preferred lender at Guaranteed Rate, and she is going to be answering a lot of questions on mortgages because that environment, we think real estate has changed. Mortgages, it's like a whole new animal. So she'll give advice on that. So I just wanted to go through a couple of things. Obviously, right now, it's a volatile market. Stock market, shaky economy, unemployment rates are going through the roof, which obviously, if you're not employed, you can't buy a home. There's a fear of a coming recession. And so we just want to kind of address everything up front. So what we've been seeing overall is that things are still moving as far as our sellers, which is what I wanted to talk about first. There are buyers out there who have to buy. They have to buy because, they sold their home and now they have to find something to buy. They plan to buy and they started this process before all this craziness and they're running up against leases that are expiring. There's definite reasons people want to buy and there is no inventory. So what I will say is that we are being proactive and we're having to see ourselves be proactive by actually reaching out and saying, who has a house to sell? Because I have a buyer that wants to buy it, right? So even though the environment has changed as far as people being out and looking at houses, which we'll talk about in a little bit how we do this virtually, people are still buying, okay? Our buyers who are out there, we have a handful of buyers, a bunch of buyers that have to move because they sold their house and they're closing with nowhere to go. So we're still showing properties. We're doing our best to stay safe, to social distance. We're doing most of everything virtually before we bring buyers into the house, which on my listings, unless it's vacant, we're trying to do as well to mitigate some of that contact with your home, right? Because you're living in your home. You don't want somebody who's potentially sick and doesn't know it yet touching everything, and then you're coming back with your kids or whomever into the home. And to be honest, a lot of people have deactivated their properties or aren't showing right now or waiting to list because of this. So I think if there is a potential that you can list your house and deal with it and sanitize, or even sorry, I'm letting somebody in, or even move. We've shown a couple houses where they're occupied, but people have moved in with their parents or somebody else temporarily to give everybody access to their home. So if you have the opportunity to do that, I feel like because there are serious buyers out there right now, we've kind of weeded out all the people who are just looky-loos, because if you're putting yourself at risk and you're going out there, you are a serious buyer, you are pre-approved, you have to buy a house, you can't wait. I think it's definitely a time to do that. As far as statistics, our wonderful managing broker, Stephanie Sigatvari, who's on this call, just gave me some great statistics. So I want to read those to you. And so this is MRED. So this is all our entire MLS. So in the last 3 weeks, new contracts are down 37%. And, in the last 3 weeks is when we've all been staying at home. Listings are down 48%. The suburbs are faring a little bit better than the city. We're dealing with some city clients. We have one in particular right now who wants to buy a condo, was under contract. The condo association won't let anybody in to go and show the place now, to do a move, to do a final walkthrough. So the suburbs is moving a little bit easier because there are a lot of condo associations trying to protect their homeowners by not letting people in the house. So cities numbers are a little bit worse than that, but suburbs are a little bit better, which is good. So that's the kind of overview of all of MRED. Now I wanted to talk about, as a seller, how to virtually show your house. So we are leaning towards virtual walkthroughs. So now anybody that lists, we're doing a virtual tour of the home with a video. We are doing virtual showing. So if the property is occupied, we're asking our sellers to actually do a Zoom or a FaceTime call with the potential buyer and walk them through the house with their phone. And it works out really well because I'm working with buyers who are doing that, and they're only going to see the properties that they really want to see, protecting themselves as well as protecting the homeowners. We have our virtual videos posted directly on the MLS and directly on the property website so that people can do a tour, because it's a little bit every picture, right? You always say you look at a picture of a house and then you go and see it live, and this does not look like what this house looks like. So the virtual walkthrough is wonderful. And I will tell you, sellers doing the virtual walkthrough with the buyer is awesome because they've lived in the home. They know the ins and outs of it. So when my clients are on the virtual tour, they can say, hey, can you tell me something with the one side of the yard not being fenced? Have you gotten a quote on what it's going to cost to fence it? So we're really being able to ask buyers questions, and I'm always on the calls too, so can ask buyers questions that way. So we're navigating things in a virtual world, and I can tell you from absolute experience that we can't find homes for some buyers. So there are opportunities also to private list your home if you don't want to go live on the MLS right now, where there's a private listing network as well as different pocket listings that we can provide, so we can kind of test the market or put it on without putting it out there completely. And the private listing network will soon also be able to be sent to our buyers. So we'll be able to choose as realtors that they receive private listings, which is a great way to do it. So people are like, we don't want to have 10 showings right now, not even virtually. We don't want anybody in the house. Well, let's put it on the private network so that it's in people's minds. Okay, let's see what else. So what's going to happen after all of this? I think that with all of us being home right now, there's a couple things. Before I turn it over to Patty, I just want to go through this because that's another question that we've been getting a lot is, what happens when the stay-at-home order has lifted? Obviously, people have lost their jobs, and that is so sad. And some of those people were trying to buy homes, but there are still people that have not, that still are going to want to buy homes, and people that have to move, relocation or whatever it is. So we suggest, and we'll have experts on that are kind of giving you advice on this in future series, but get your home ready now. You're sitting there, you're going room by room, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a crack in that ceiling. I never noticed it before. Buyers are going to notice it. So go ahead and get it fixed or fix it yourself. YouTube videos, however you want to do it. There's definite ways for you to actually go through your house right now. So if you're thinking about selling in the future, take this time, because I feel like after the stay-at-home order is lifted, experts are predicting that we are going to see a boom or a rise in people wanting to get out and buy houses. They've just sat in their homes for a month plus. Who knows when this is going to end? And now I can't take it here anymore. I need to move. This is making people realize that we need to move. Some other statistics is experts are saying that potentially bigger homes are going to have a surge, which I know we've had a lot of in our areas with large homes, and it was kind of a trend to smaller homes. But now I think people are appreciating the fact that, they have a family, they have a home, and maybe they'll stay home more going forward. But people are realizing they're predicting that there might be a trend towards the larger homes. So with that, I don't have any questions. If anybody has any questions, please add them to the chat. I will turn it over to Patty Dalkos, who is here, right? Patty, are you there? Let's see.
She is not able to talk. I can hear you, but she is not able to talk. And I'm trying to tell her to look for somewhere to click their audio on.
She's not
And
happy at all anymore, actually.
You're
right,
what?
I told her to log off and try to come back in.
Okay. So while we wait for Patty,
Did you let her in stuff?
oh, there she is. Okay. Fun trying to navigate all this. Oh, we have a comment. Hi, Daryl.
My
Cheryl.
phone too is her.
Okay,
Has to.
I'm gonna take a sip of water.
Should she dial in or use internet audio? Does anyone
Internet
know?
audio.
Internet audio.
Stephanie, there is a question for you
Oh,
from Rita. You can answer.
okay. What areas are inventory low? There are many houses for sale in my neighborhood right now. And Rita, I don't know where you live, but I will say so. Our team operates, and I was going to bring this up. Our team is kind of a little bit different, where we're not 100% in one area. Twin, who's on our team, is in the city. We still do a lot of city business, probably 20%. We do all over the suburbs. So if you want specific information about your area, please email us offline or PM us, and we can definitely give you the statistics in your area. Where I know that my buyers currently cannot find homes are Hoffman Estates. We're looking, I have a buyer who needs to get into something right now in Hoffman. We have Mount Prospect that somebody's looking in, Arlington Heights. And I think it's price point focused, so I think where I'm seeing it is that like 250 to $450,000 price point in certain school districts that we're really having a hard time finding homes. In the city, I know that Twins experience this where we can't show houses or condos because the association has shut it down, so that makes things difficult. On the north side of the city, I think in certain price points, a little bit difficult to find homes. So I think that's where we're experiencing it. Anyone else from Andre Group want to pipe in on that one, on where your buyers are looking?
I think that's about right. You skipped Palatine too.
Oh, Palatine too.
Yep.
Inverness, Palatine, Hoffman, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect,
Barrington. Yeah.
Arlington. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I also think a major part is the price, because if a property is priced right, it's going to still go quickly.
mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, those buyers, I think that have been looking for a while and are desperate right now because they're running against selling their home or their lease running up, are opening themselves up to areas that they weren't thinking about before. So like, okay, well, we weren't considering this, but maybe this isn't our forever home. So maybe it's not so focused on the school district. We'll open ourselves up. So now I feel like is a really great time, to kind of test your house on the market. All right, can Patty talk now? Oh, I see. Wait, let's see. So I think she's the phone too.
She is.
All right, let's see if this works. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, have a condo in the city, north side, Lakeshore Drive in Irving Park, that we've been renting out. Lease C is leaving the end of the month. We were planning to fix up some things and sell when the tenants leave. There are 7 other units for sale of the same size, over 600 units in the complex, but should we still look to sell or should we consider releasing? So my suggestion is if there's some things that you need to do, so they're leaving at the end of the month, what I would do, because with the tenant, if you're going to be leasing or if you're going to be selling, you're going to have to do the same things anyway. So talk to us. Another thing that we do is with our connections with contractors, we provide the discount that we get with our contractors to our clients, and kind of can manage that process. We've done it several times. We used to flip a ton of homes. So we can definitely help you get that stuff done. One thing to consider is your condo building allowing people into the building to do work? So I think number one is find that out. If workers are able to go into your condo building. And then what I would say is let's do a market analysis for you and kind of see where you will end up and what it looks like for you, depending on the tier, the floor, and if where you are with what you owe on the place. It might make sense if you can be the best unit in that building, if there's a lot of units for sale, being kind of a no-brainer to any buyer. Like, wow, why wouldn't we buy this for this price with everything else in the market? Hope that answered your question, but we can discuss further afterwards. Okay, let's see if we have anything on Facebook. You're welcome. Okay, so let's talk about this while Patty gets settled. I want to talk about the virtual world of real estate. So we talked about showings and how they've been being handled virtually. So what happens when you get under contract? You're going to have to do a home inspection, right? So to protect the buyers and the sellers, home inspection companies now are asking that no one really attend the home inspection. So as a buyer's agent, what we're doing is we're letting the home inspector in the house, going back to our cars, sitting in our cars, letting the home inspection be done. And then some companies are then allowing the buyer also to be in the car, and they will come out and discuss the deficiencies. And if the buyer then, one buyer, if there's a couple, they let one person in or one at a time, can go in and they can show them the defect that they found. I've had home inspection companies who have said, we don't want anybody else in the house. We can do everything virtually. And they're actually FaceTiming and showing the defects at the end of the inspection. So that is also being done to minimize human contact. As far as final walkthroughs, I'm doing 2 final walkthroughs tomorrow, one where I'm the listing agent and one where I'm the buyer's agent. So for the listing that I'm listing, I let the person in, I unlock the door, I go back to my car. The agent that they're working with is the buyer's agent, and the buyer will walk in with masks and gloves. They will walk through and do the final walkthrough, and then after they come out, I will lock the door. I will bring the key to the closing. For my buyer, I will walk in with them. We will be let in the house, and we will go in. Nobody else will be there. We'll walk through with mask and gloves, and then leave the key with the buyer. There was no buyer's agent or listing agent. We'll leave the key with the seller, and the seller will get the key to the closing. Or we're even giving the keys to the buyer's agents to bring to the closing. So that's how we're handling all of that. Okay, let's see. Can Patty talk yet?
Do you see her in the waiting room?
Do not. I do not.
Give her a minute.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions while we're waiting for Patty to talk about the mortgage world? Because a lot of people can't buy houses without loans, and that has changed significantly. So I think for anybody who's considering, it's going to be, a good time to ask questions on all of this. All right. Let's see. Stephanie, are you on here? You're on here. I don't know if your camera ready, but do you want to give any input to what we're saying on anything? Stephanie's our managing broker at Properties, so
in here.
Can you unmute her? Unmute Stephanie.
I can.
No, hi. I was not camera ready, so hi. Hi, I'm not camera ready. So thanks.
Sorry.
And I just, that's okay. It's just part of the fun of the whole situation of being at home, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that, and maybe this was something that you or Patty were going to talk about when she gets on, is that and I know one of the questions was, maybe what are you anticipating after the shelter-in-place real estate market is? To remind everyone is that this is very different from other recessions and other markets when the real estate market really obviously had a grave turn of events, which was after 9/11 and then 2008 and 2009. During the downturn of the market in 2008 and 9, and it went through till 2012, real estate brought us into that recession. That was the cause of the market collapsing. We had a lot of new construction going back, too much new construction for the demand that was out there, and the market, the mortgage market at that time was very loose, so anybody could go ahead and get a mortgage. So it was the combination of all of those, the real estate market. That is why it took 10 years to get out of it. This is very different. Real estate did not bring us into the situation where we're at. This is a global health crisis. We actually entered into this with a very strong real estate market. In fact, at our properties, we had our best first quarter in 2020 than we've ever had. So we went into it in a very strong position, and that is why once the shelter in place is released, we have all great faith that we're going to be able to bounce back relatively quickly here and just kind of continue on. We do know that there's a lot of pent up demand with buyers, and we also do realize that people still have to live their lives. They have to, people get married and people want to move and people expand their families, and there's always a real estate market that's there. And so we will certainly accommodate all of that and kind of pivot and end up pretty well. I know Goldman Sachs is also forecasting that the third and fourth quarters of the year also going to be very state in a shorter period of time in 2020.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we were listening to the owner of Atwood.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. I was on a call with Inman and said, during a recession, real estate can appreciate because people want. Yeah. So, Steph, I think you're frozen. Thank you so much. So I think we're going to have.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm going to stop the video.
Okay. I think we're going to have a very busy season coming up after the stay-at-home is lifted, and who knows what's going to happen with the election. So again, I think the time is now. So now I'm going to pass it on to Patty because I see her. Let's unmute her. Unmute. All right, Patty, you there? Okay, we see you.
Am I here?
You're here. Yay.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's finally nice to be here with everybody. I hope everyone is staying safe and having a good day. Thank you for the opportunity to join this session. It's really important that we talk about what's happening today and what's going on in the current market situation. Things are a little hectic right now in the lending world, I'm not going to lie. Like Stephanie said, this is not a market-driven situation. This is a global pandemic. So I think that everyone is being reactive to the situation, and lenders are in an extremely reactive mode right now at this point. So let's talk about a couple of things. Interest rates. Yes, interest rates are still very, very low. So we are very happy with that part of the engine that fuels refinances and purchases. So rates are seriously very, very low. They haven't been this low since 2016. So purchase transactions, low threes. VA loans in the, maybe possibly under 3 at 3%. FHA, credit qualifying, again, you're going to be in that ballpark. Jumbo loans, unfortunately, are bearing the grunt of what's happening as a result of this pandemic. And we are seeing a tremendous escalation of jumbo rates across the board. Definitely tightening of the guidelines regarding the jumbo financing market. We're seeing some lenders pull back from jumbo financing. Definitely products being eliminated. Basically, if you're not putting 20% down on a jumbo product, it's going to be very, very difficult to find a lender to finance anything with less of a down payment for 20% down in the jumbo world. So at this point in time, guaranteed rate is still financing 5% down Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac products. We are still offering the 3.5% down FHA products, 100% financing for veterans if they qualify. So those products are still available. Credit qualifying products are still there. We are seeing some tightening of credit scores. FHA, 620 minimum credit scores. So we can work with you. We can help make sure that your credit needs to be at least minimum standards. That's important. Paying off debt, helping you to get to that next point, possibly working with a collection, et cetera, et cetera. How can we help to get you to that next level, to get you into a home? If it's not within the next 30 to 60 days, what is the prognosis? What can we do in the next 6 months? Credit scores. That is something as well. Loan requirements. Not only
sorry to stop you.
Yes.
A question.
Yes.
Someone wants to know, what are jumbo loans? Can you kind of clarify?
Yes. Sure. Anything in Cook County and Collier counties in the state of Illinois, anything over $510,400 constitutes a jumbo loan. So it would be 510,401 would be considered a jumbo loan. Okay. All right. So loan requirements for Fannie, Freddie loans at $510,400 have kind of, well, I'm not going to say that. They are still streamlined. We are still doing everything via DocuSign. If you're W-2 wage earner, it's fantastic. We are still going to need pay stubs, W-2s. What has changed dramatically due to the huge influx of recently unemployed people, people that have reduced hours, people that have been furloughed, how is that going to affect a potential purchase? Well, we will literally be verifying employment the day of closing. We will need to see pay stubs to ensure that what we qualified you as the borrower on for income stays the same throughout the entire loan process. It's very important to have that conversation with your lender, with your agent, if you feel that you are going to be furloughed or if your income is going to be reduced during this transaction. It will be discovered. So you need to have that conversation before you get to the closing table, because it might affect your purchase transaction. And we would never want to put you as the client in jeopardy if we issue that mortgage commitment and then something happens with your job. We certainly want to protect you as the client. So loan requirements are getting a little stringent in that regard. Assets are being reviewed within 60 days. So we verify everything at this point. So your bank statements, stock portfolios, 401k funds, we need to ensure that the balances of what you disclosed at the start of the process are what they are at the end of the process, to make sure if we needed them for qualification, they're still there. So with the fluctuations of the stock market, we are verifying all the way up until the end. So it's very, very important that you have that clear conversation with your lender as well. Really important, if you have been furloughed or if you are unemployed, a lender cannot get you to the closing table. The basic premise for getting a loan today is that you have the ability to repay. So if there is no income coming in, the ability to repay is not available. So unfortunately, it would be something that would prohibit any lender from moving forward with the purchase transaction. We do try and troubleshoot that. So if that is a situation, is there a co-mortgagor that can come in and help co-sign on the loan? Are there additional assets that can be gifted that can help bring down the loan amount and still cover the payment with one borrower? So we're really good at trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together as long as we have additional information. We're not just going to walk away. Possible way to, we are going to work really hard, ask all the questions, and we're going to turn every stone. We really hope that we can get our clients to the closing table, obviously with the least amount of work, but this is a very difficult time for everybody, and lenders need to ensure that the money that they're lending does get repaid, and all borrowers are going to have to sign disclosures that they have the ability to repay these funds. So we're all here to help. We're here to walk you through the process. I don't want to scare anyone. We're still closing loans. We're still going through the process. Again, interest rates are super low, and this will get rectified. This will pass. And like Stephanie, as you said, once the smoke clears, I think we're going to see a very robust recovery. And as long as clients are organized and have their paperwork in order, we feel that we can get people to the closing table, and we're still closing loans in 30 days. So we are working as a team with the attorney, with the title company, with the agents. We are working in tandem with appraisers. We are doing flash closes with the title agents. In other words, borrowers are pre-signing via DocuSign a majority of the closing documents the morning of their closing. So when they go to the title company, they're protected. They spend very little time. They're usually sitting in their car, and they can sign the few mortgage documents that need to be physically hand signed. So that alleviates a long time in the closing, the title company. So we're all working together to try and keep our clients safe, to get them into their homes in a fast, expedient manner. Unfortunately, we've just added a few extra steps that have to be satisfied. Okay.
All right, thank you, Patty. Then credit requirement wise, how have things changed?
So Fannie and Freddie, as long as we get a Fannie Mae approval through our automated underwriting system, we are still seeing credit scores as low as 620. Obviously, you're not going to get the best interest rates, but we are jumbo loans absolutely a 700 credit score, no exception. The programs that allowed for less than 700, 680 lenders, those are no longer satisfying those loans. So we would, again, if you're right there at the cusp, we can help get you over that small hurdle. How can we help? We'll look at your credit reports. We'll give you some guidance and try and assist you in that fashion.
And I do want to say on this call, I don't know if anybody qualifies for this or people, but VA, we have a couple, Patty and I are working with a couple VA clients right now, and those rates blew my mind. Like, I mean, if you have good credit, 0 down, they're doing 100% financing. If you've had if you know anybody in the military, National Guard, any military facet, if they haven't exercised their VA benefits yet, but you can also use it a second time, right, Patty?
Yes.
It's a little bit different, but we can talk to you. But everybody on this call, if you know anybody in the military or who has been in the military who can get a VA benefit, I mean, and this is not everybody, right? But we saw our client that it got under a 3% with 100% financing, which is absolutely ridiculous. So just wanted to put that out there. If anybody
the rates are low, and again, it is a streamlined process. We always thank our vets for their service. We want to be there for them. We want to support them, and the rates are phenomenal. Again, rates are subject to change at any point in time, but we are seeing record low rates, and we hope that they stay low. As long as the credit scores are good, we'll certainly do our best. We'll be as aggressive as we possibly can, but most lenders will do their best to be as aggressive as they can. So we're absolutely always willing to have that conversation with the clients and talk to them about their down payments, their credit scores, what they're looking for, what their goals are, and have to start the conversation in order to get them pre-approved, to work with their agents to find the right home for them. It might not be now, it might be in 60 to 90 days, but it's important to start the conversation, get all your ducks in a row, make sure your paperwork is ready to go, so you can start doing your virtual tours. And when they feel comfortable in going out and seeing homes, that you can be first in, and with a really strong pre-approval letter, we can start the process, expedite it, and try and get them into their home sooner. We don't necessarily need 60 days for a closing. So if that helps the seller accept your offer because you're prepared, you're pre-approved, clients are organized, we're all in this together, and that's what we strive for.
Okay, and then question, how much down payment is needed for the different scenarios of loans? Has anything like that changed down payment wise?
Again, we'll work with the client. Again, FHA, 3.5% down. VA loans generally are 100% financing. Fannie Freddie, we still offer the 5% down program, 10%, 15% down option. There are some lenders out there that are tightening those restrictions, but we are not. Jumbo loans basically are going to be 20% down. Very few lenders are doing anything other than that. We do have some home equity lenders as well that will work in conjunction with us. So if we can't get you jumbo financing, we can figure out doing a first and a second. So there's lots of options. I don't want to say that there's no alternatives, but that's what we're here for. So if there's a specific question or a specific request, I'd be absolutely happy to talk to any particular client and walk them through different scenarios.
So as far as, I think, we have some of our sellers on this call right now. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for our sellers to know is that they are doing verification of employment up to
Yes.
the day of closing.
Yes.
And I guess, so somebody loses their job, they obviously can't get financing. So that's a risk. So now us as agents are now having to, when we're accepting offers, kind of ask, well, what does that person do for a job? How secure is it? And it's hard to know, but it's just an extra step of us trying to be qualified. And, we've had situations where we say, can you work with a lender that we know? Because people are coming at us with, other lenders that we haven't heard of, that we don't know. So I think or at least get qualified by somebody that we trust. So I think that it's an extra step for us as realtors to kind of extra screen the people that are buying the houses for our sellers.
I think at this point in time, everybody does a little extra due diligence. Obviously, for privacy purposes, any lender is going to certainly be careful as to what they can or cannot say. But a pre-approval letter today needs to be rock solid. And I can't imagine that any lender, I'm speaking for myself, I've been in business for over 20 years. It is my license on the line. I'm asking the same questions to any prospective client because I cannot put them in harm's way. I respect the fact that there is a seller on the other side of this as well. Nobody wants to go through an entire loan transaction, whether it's 30 days, 45 days, or 60 days, and not get to the closing table. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of effort, there's an entire team involved. A lot of paperwork is involved on the lending side to get a person to the closing table. And the last thing anybody wants to do is go through all of that and not get the deal done. So again, very well vetted on the buyer side. Ask the hard questions. Yes, it might be uncomfortable, but we do need to ask all these questions. And we ask the questions throughout the entire process. And you as the agents have to be doing the same thing as well. There are going to be certain industries that are more affected than others. And if you have any sense at all that your clients might have some potential conflicts moving forward, then you have to have that hard conversation with them as well, maybe before they even put that offer in, and say, maybe now is not the time, maybe we need to wait, because we just can't cancel a deal because a client changes their mind. There are strict guidelines in place, but if a client does lose their job, they technically can't afford the payments. So it gets a little interesting there from a legal perspective. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to speak on that behalf. I'm a lender, but I know that we have to satisfy the terms of the contract, and that's our main goal. It's our only goal.
Patty, I have a question for you. So if someone should lose their job and lose their financing, obviously temporarily, how long do they have to have their job again before they can get approved?
That's a great question, Helen. So it really depends on the type of job that they have. Are they a W-2 employee? Are they, self-employed and shut down their business? So I can't give you a definitive answer on that, but if it is a W-2 employee and the company furloughed their workers but brought everybody back, and we have proof that employment has started and they have their full paycheck back, with proof that it's in their account, then we could, could restart that loan.
He also asked, what if they are reemployed with the same employer? So same thing that you're saying.
Exactly. So again, that's not that uncommon. That will be happening. Again, you're dealing with issues, perhaps somebody who's a part-time employee who loses their job and can't get another job for a few months. Part-time income is calculated very differently than a W-2 wage earner. So is there bonus or commission? Are you a sales rep? If you go without 6 months of commission, that is definitely going to affect your pay scale. Currently, we do use averages. So it really depends on the type of job that they have and the type of income that they have. So for that specific scenario, again, I'd be more than happy to talk to a client and certainly come up with a game plan as to their time frame.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Patty? If people want to ask, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. We've got a couple new people join. Let me see if there's anything on Facebook. We had a question on Facebook that I kind of talked about, but how are we showing houses? So we are doing virtual showings as much as possible, and trying to vet out options that our buyers don't want to see, so that we can only take them to properties they're truly interested in. So as much virtually as we can, either with FaceTime, with Zoom, with House Party. I've done them all. I had 7 virtual showings back to back in one day. That was exciting. All different. Okay, now we're on House Party. Okay, now we're on Zoom. Okay, now we're on FaceTime. So it's amazing. And if I have a hope, I hope that once this is all over, I like them, because honestly, you're avoiding dragging people out everywhere, walking through a house they have no interest. It's actually very effective. And I found on my listings, it's really only serious buyers that are going. Have a few vacant listings. That way it's easy. We have hand sanitizer. We are doing virtual videos of all of our listings to walk people through so that they get a better idea of the listing before they actually schedule a live showing. We actually can do virtual open houses. So basically we have like a Sunday 2-hour time frame where people can call in within the half hour on Zoom, and we're walking through and answering questions as well. So it's a virtual world, which I'm finding to be very effective. Yeah. Funny enough, let's see if we have any other questions. I wanted to touch on, I know people have asked me about, who have bought houses recently and then they are furloughed. And, the government has been giving everybody assistance, and banks are supposed to be, or allegedly, allowing people to do forbearances. What I would caution, I don't work for a bank. I know, Pat, we don't know, but definitely if you're calling your bank, and Helen and I have called banks with our clients, for our clients, and we're happy to do that. Definitely make sure what the effects of your credit are and when that payment is due, because we've been on the phone with banks with our clients that have said, okay, we'll give you 3 months of no mortgage payments, and in that end of that 3 months, although the 3 months is due. So if you can't pay your mortgage today, are you going to be able to pay 3 months of mortgage payments in 3 months? Some banks are adding it to the end of the loan, but with the forbearance, it does affect your credit. So I don't know if all of that, Patty, have you heard anything about anything being ironed out a little further? Stephanie?
Honestly, we're getting daily updates that the forbearance issues are trying to be worked out. And I think that they're slowly making their way through, but you're giving excellent advice. They literally need to call the lender, their servicer, and find out specifically how it's going to affect them. You should not rely on anybody other than what you hear directly from your servicer or from your lender. Do not assume. My understanding was it's not supposed to affect the credit scores as long as it's agreed. But again, they have. I'm not sure if this has been passed. And I know that they are trying to get all this cleared up because you've got lenders, you've got servicers, and the left hand isn't talking to the right hand, and you've got 22 million people as of today unemployed, and it's a very difficult position to be in. And like you said, Stephanie, if you can't make your mortgage payment today, you shouldn't. How are you supposed to make 3 months of mortgage payments, at the end of 3 months? So it's very, very daunting for people. So again, the takeaway is call your servicer and exactly find out what are the repercussions, when are the payments due, can the payments be amortized over the life of the loan, can they re-amortize the entire payment for you or tack it on to the back. Find out their specific process for their forbearance, because everyone is a little different at this point in time. There's no set rule.
Absolutely. And I would also make sure that because I've heard that people are trying to do everything over the phone, okay, do you accept? Ask for paperwork, ask for.
Get it in writing. Get it in writing.
Absolutely. 100% for sure. For sure. All right. Let's see if we have any other questions. Any questions from anybody on the call right now?
Patty, I had someone message me a question asking about appraisal. So I know we've touched on it lightly, but a lot of them now they're trying to do, right? You said desktop appraisals, drive-by, electronic.
Yes. So for purchases, another interesting call that we had with our executive team yesterday. Purchases within certain guideline ratios are being allowed to have those drive-by appraisals and or desktop appraisals, and some are getting appraisal waivers if they qualify, if they're Fannie, Freddie, under $510,400. FHA, VA need to get inspected because FHA and VA have very specific appraisal requirements. The jumbo world must get an appraisal done. So regarding refinances, they were also, up until a few days ago, allowing for virtual if they qualified. They have revised those guidelines now. So if it's Fannie to Fannie, they might allow it. We're still waiting for final approval on that. If not, an appraiser might actually have to enter your home. And if that's the case, there's really nothing that we can do about that if you want the refinance. But we're fighting really hard. Our executive team at Guaranteed Rate literally is on speed dial with the boards of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac with the executive team. So we understand that people don't want people in their homes that they don't know. So if we can avoid that, trust me, we're going to try and avoid that.
Okay.
Thanks, Patty. All right. Well, I know there was a lot of information today. If Patty, can you share your information with everybody in case they have questions, please?
Sure. You can always reach me. I'm at patty.dalkos@rate.com. And you can reach me on my cell, 312-420-6434. And Stephanie knows how to get in touch with me. Helen, Twin, Cheryl, everybody knows how to reach me. I'd love to chat with you. If you have any questions, always trust a mortgage professional when it comes to mortgage questions. Of course, the internet's everyone's go-to, or your uncle from 15 years ago who did a mortgage, but you should definitely reach out to a mortgage professional. You don't want to get steered down the wrong path and perhaps make a decision based on misinformation that could affect the chances of you purchasing a new home. So we're here to help, happy to help. And in these trying times, please stay safe with all your families. And we hope we get through this really quickly.
Thank you so much, Patty. And we're here to help as well. Like I said, if you have any questions or you want somebody who knows the real estate talk to call your lender on a conference with you, we're happy to do that. We've been doing it for clients. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I had a short sale company for many years. So talking to lenders was what I did for a long time before I started selling normal real estate. We did short sales, so can help with that. And what we're going to do with this, because we want to provide information and sanity to people while they're at home and give them different types of information, not just numbers and real estate. We're going to do a weekly series, and we'll post a schedule, and we're going to have guests on to talk about different areas, remodeling your home, different things you can do. We're going to have a person an organizer on to give tips for organizing. We're going to have a health and wellness expert on to give tips on that. So it's going to be a really great series. Next week, we're going to have our managing broker, Stephanie Sigitvari, on talking a little bit more about the real estate world. And hopefully people after this conversation can come up with more questions. But we'll do every Thursday at 4. If you have questions, you can email us ahead of time or message us ahead of time. I know there was a question about a condo in the city, so I will reach out to you separately so we can kind of get a CMA done for you. And yeah, it was awesome seeing everybody. Thank you all so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and everyone go have a glass of wine. Happy hour. See you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.